Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to yet again another fantastic indie creator interview. It is your Caped Crusader, Cody, and we are keeping it geekly with our new friend, Sam Carter. Well, I would almost say not new friend, because we've talked in plenty of spaces and on Twitter for quite some time, but this is our first time being face-to-face, and man, it feels good to finally kind of like have that, exchange with one another.
It feels great to finally put like a face with the name and everything, and instead of just typing it out and everything.
Yeah. So
chat with you.
Yeah, we're here to break down Final Boy issue 1, 2, and 3, and everything in between. But before we do that, Sam, let's get a little bit of a breakdown of who you are and how you got into creating comics. I know you were talking backstage, and you said this year was your first year into it, so you're already 3 books in.
Yeah, no, the artist.
Holy crap!
Yeah, I know, right? The artist Marlon Souza and colorist Danilo Leão. I want to shout them out. They are prolific. Like, they have a really quick turnaround on everything that I give them. But I've been working on the story Final Boy for about a couple of years now, maybe 3 now that I think about it. I wrote it initially as a screenplay, and then I adapted it into comic scripts and changed up a bunch of stuff. Then I adapted it back into a screenplay. But yeah, I started in making comics in March, actually. So I'm new to a lot of things, still figuring things out. But I did a lot of research and everything, and I've had some great mentors in the comics and screenwriting industry.
You say since March?
Yeah, March. Yeah,
oh my God. So you pretty much have been creating comics as long as we've been interviewing on this channel. That's insane, dude. Holy crap. Congratulations. What has some of those trials and tribulations been? I mean, it can't all be a walk in the park, knocking out 3 issues without really knowing how, what you're doing in that time period. I'm sure there was a little bit of struggle.
Yeah, definitely. Before I launched my first campaign, I must have spent 6 months just researching, social media algorithms, Kickstarter, how to run one, following a bunch of different people in their campaigns to figure all that out. I bought books on comic writing, on comic lettering especially. I practiced that for months and months before I ever touched my own comic for lettering it. So definitely some trials and tribulations. I just learned today some things about the Twitter algorithm that I never knew about tweeting.
Oh, how they mute certain words.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. Like the word Kickstarter, I gotta stop using that apparently.
Well, so that's why you'll see in a lot of tweets people won't put the links to stuff
Right.
for 2 reasons. It forces people to ask, well, where's the link? That automatically causes interaction, engagement, helps that algorithm. But any link that takes you away from the Twitter sphere takes you away from seeing an ad, and that's why you'll see ads promoted in threads, promoted in comments. And the way, if your eyes are, they're not making money if you're not looking at that, so they suppress all of that. It's ridiculous.
I know, right? I just figured all that out. I figured out the thing about the links a little while ago, but the, doxing certain words and stuff, that's new to me. So yeah, I just figured that out. There was a lot of trials and tribulations, but I've been lucky to have some good mentors to guide me along the way. And our first campaign was successful. Just barely any hiccups at all, really. So I'm thankful for that. And
it's nice when you put in that homework and kind of get a good idea of what to expect too. So what were some of the biggest things that you learned when researching that, kind of helped you and guide you when running your campaign?
Yeah, I researched things about shipping addresses and stuff like that, how to mail things. I was new to all that. Kickstarter, just how to get the Projects We Love sticker, which I haven't gotten yet. I researched that quite a bit. And just how to get eyes and attention. I actually didn't even have any social media accounts until this year. I kind of avoided it for a long time. So I had to learn from the ground up how to promote yourself and market your comic.
So when you were writing this comic, was it a different experience kind of going from doing a screenplay to this format? I often hear that it can be similar, but that's not the case for everybody. So was there any hiccups when translating this script from a screenplay to a comic?
Yeah, I mean, you're dealing with still images, so that's one thing. You can only fit so many words per panel. So that's another thing. And in a lot of ways, it is similar like script format. So I've been writing screenplays for years. And in a way, now I think about it, I've been making comics since I was 4 years old. So what I would do is I would draw little panels. They were all Jurassic Park sequels because that's all I watched back then. But I would draw comics panels, and I'd get my grandfather to dictate stories to, and he would write down the words. And it's crazy, actually. In the Jurassic Park 4 Jurassic World, so many of my scenes that I had written down as a kid showed up in that movie. Like specific scenes like velociraptors running with a motorcycle next to them, velociraptors chasing after a van with the back door open.
Gramps must have sold the storyline, dude.
Spielberg must have broken into my house or something. Even like the whole idea of the military weaponizing the dinosaurs, that was in there. So I've been making comics in one way or another for my whole life, basically. I started comic writing scripts when I was 14. I worked on this superhero thing called The Gecko, and in hindsight, it was just terrible. It was about like a spy going on international missions, and he was a superhero as well. But I didn't really understand like the nuances of like international politics, so it just at 14. So it just kind of fell apart. But it did teach me how to write scripts. And the book that did was like Stan Lee's guide on how to write comics that I found in a Hobby Lobby or something. It just had one page with a comic script of what it looked like. And I just copied that down. And that was my format for years. And now I use like the Image Comics format for writing my scripts. So I haven't changed that much at all.
No, that's really awesome. We have Rinsler 1865 over on YouTube saying, hell yeah, I was successful. I think talking about the first Kickstarter.
Right. Yeah, that's my friend Daniel popping in.
Hey, welcome to the stream. So give us a little bit about Final Boy. This was such an interesting read. I had the opportunity to read all 3 issues. So anyone that is out there, if you're on the fence about backing this just on the merit of it being like not finished, it is completely 100% finished outside of lettering, I think, right?
Yeah, the lettering, we might change a few things. So it's not completely final, but it's mostly there. It's all there. I just have to revise and edit a few things.
Yeah, I thought that, man, a phenomenal read. I had a blast. Let's begin talking about some of the inspirations and things that you drew from when scripting this out. It was a really fun ride, man. I loved it. You have no idea what's going on too the entire read. It's awesome.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, that means a lot. So for inspirations, movies like Scream, especially Scream 2, which is at a college setting, Urban Legend, Friday the 13th Part 2 particularly. But I did binge watch dozens of obscure slasher movies like House on Sorority Row, Silent Scream, even the Banana Splits movie. I watched so many of those for so long. My goal was to write like the ultimate slasher story, one that took advantage of all the unique tropes of the genre that they have to offer. So that's for inspirations and a lot of books as well. And my log line for that is like, when a slasher begins piling up victims at Genesee University, Isaac Lambert, our main character, must survive a single night of terror as he uncovers an insidious mystery. But who can he trust when everyone around him is a suspect? So it's a slasher comedy murder mystery with a little bit of a rom-com in there as well, which feels like genres that shouldn't match together well, but they really do, I think.
And I thought issue 1 was a really interesting introduction to it. I mean, because we don't even really start with the protagonist at all. We start with like almost a misdirection, like 2 other people and the things that happened to them. So can we kind of like start diving into a little bit of what issue 1 was about? And then what we'll do is kind of recap on issue 2 and 3, and then we'll check out this Kickstarter.
Yeah, sounds great. So I found out this formula for like the really successful horror movies, and it's the first few minutes are basically like short films. So I watched like Scream Ghost Ship is also a great example, like has the best horror opening of all time. The rest of the movie doesn't really live up to that opening, but the first few minutes are amazing. So what I want to do is have like a standalone first issue to hook people. It's important to the rest of the story, but you can just read that first issue and you get a complete story with a surprising, funny twist at the end and enjoy it on its own merits. And then issue 2 continues along. So issue 2 could also be a jumping on point for people. So I made a tier on Kickstarter for people to check that out if they just want to read issues 2 and 3 as opposed to 1. But yeah, the first issue is the introduction to a 7-issue storyline. It's extra sized at 32 pages, and we follow these characters, Scott and Haley, as they're looking for a place on campus for a romantic rendezvous. But little do they know they're in a slasher story, and in slasher stories, if you have sex, that doesn't really ever go well for you, because slasher stories have this odd sense of morality, I found. But if you haven't already, I'm excited for everyone to read the ending to this issue because it does contain a really surprising twist.
And I think that was a really interesting thing. This guy or girl, we have no idea what it is.
Right.
Hates people having sex. It almost it's like the complete opposite of It Follows. Like I don't know if you've ever seen that, where it's like the thing like you got to have sex and or it'll kill you.
Yeah, the supernatural STD. That's
So what's this person's problem? Like, why are they so against this? Or is that something that's yet to be revealed?
It's yet to be revealed, but I will say it does subvert your expectations as opposed to like the traditional sexually oppressed slasher killer. So it's not quite what you would expect. But I don't want to reveal the motives quite.
Yeah. No, that's fine. And one thing I really loved was you went the extra step with making it more gorier and more brutal. I felt, a lot of times I feel like comics will pull some punches, and it felt like you just let them all like swing out. Like, what was some of your reasonings for letting it, get that heavy? Like, I loved it for one, but it did seem kind of brutal in some parts.
Yeah, it is brutal. I mean, it's a slasher story, so you gotta please fans of that genre. But actually, I thought the art for that was really quite tasteful compared to what I had in the script. It did pull punches in a few certain ways, which I think benefited it. Actually, it wasn't like overly gory or in your face and stuff. Instead, what I find most fascinating about kills in the slasher genre are how creative they are. Like the sleeping bag kill in Friday the 13th. That's creative. Or the ice kill in Jason X. That's also creative. Scream movies tend to have just like a lot of stabbing and maybe one creative kill here and there. But for this, I wanted to create kills that have never really been done before, and we make use of like bow and arrow, a bat with nails, environmental kills, as well as like there's a particular kill in issue 1 that involves an arrow, and it kind of reminded me of like the Joker's smile a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
In a way that I thought, the art for that was just amazing.
No, I like I said, I am a big fan of all things that are graphic and gory, and I think it really did a good job of just hitting that mark. We have Rinsler 1865 saying it was my pleasure, bro, with throwing some fire in the chat. So let's talk a little bit about issue 2 and 3. That's what we're here today campaigning for. What can readers expect with these issues, with 1 being kind of a misdirection? How is 2 going to really set the pace for our protagonist?
Yeah, so we meet about 20 plus characters in issue 2. So quite a lot. We meet the main cast, and they're reacting to the bizarre happenings of issue 1. They're not quite sure what's going on in campus, but we're nearing a fall break at school. So the campus is slowly becoming a ghost town, less and less people there. And the only people staying around are like the foreign exchange students, the people that don't really have homes to go back to, or for various reasons, maybe their parents are missionaries or their parents are in the military. So kind of a group of misfits, a group of outcasts. But to them, there are more pressing matters than the killer on the loose. Things like homework, relationship drama, and video games. They're more concerned with all that. And the third issue, a lot of exciting stuff happens. The killer Avatar, that's his name, Avatar, strikes again. An evil masked figure appears, and a girl takes a shower, crazy stuff. And there's also in there a thrilling conversation about the sexualization of piano legs that I just had a lot of fun writing.
Yeah, I thought that was a really interesting take too. So what was, what is that? What was the sexualization of piano legs? Like, where's that come from?
Yeah, every word a character says in the story plays into the themes or sets up future things that happen in the story. There's not like a wasted panel of dialogue at all. So it does play into the themes like over-sexualization, which happens a lot in slasher movies. You see that quite a bit. And I think they're also talking about like violence and the depiction of violence in media, because they have a conversation about the book Heart of Darkness, which I read for college, which was shocking at the time. It was a book about like shock value, right? About like cannibalism and stuff like that. And you read it today and it's just completely tame. It doesn't hit you at all because we live in an age where we can accidentally click on a link and see the most horrific stuff imaginable. You know what I mean? Like the internet is exposing us to so many horrible things that we're desensitized to things like the thought of cannibalism, whereas back in the day that would be shocking.
Terrifying. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I remember when the dude in Florida was off bath salts and bit someone's face off, and like that was a thing. People were worried about that. I remember that being like people were worried about people like attacking people off bath salts. Like, and now like years later, it was a meme. You know what I mean? Like, it goes to show you like as a society, like what is like ruthless and brutal one day, is memeable the next.
Oh, absolutely. It's such a shame to see some things turned into jokes. Like I kind of believe that anything should be joked about, but it can obviously be done not tastefully. But we do play with the idea in Final Boy that violence is everywhere these days, and how do you shock my generation of people, right? Like Gen Z, millennials who grew up watching a bunch of horrible things. How do you scare them, right? How do you scare a generation of people who grew up watching videos of guys suffocating kittens in vacuum sealer bags? So with
what type of videos were you watching, Sam?
That was the only thing. Have you heard of like shock sites?
No, I'm just joking with you.
Yeah,
I'm joking with you.
I didn't watch those. I avoided all of them.
No, I remember my thing is back in the day we used to do, I forgot what site it was. It was a gore site though, and people would like self-mutilate, dude, and it, like chunks out of their flesh. And like I was like 13 years old, like watching it with the boys, like, and my one friend passed out, almost fell down my stairs. Like that's man, I don't know what it is, but like when you're a kid, like that's what you do, right? You just try to watch the most crazy stuff. Like Faces of Death, I think was a big thing when I was a kid.
Yeah, no, crazy stuff, man. I hope your friend's okay. But,
no, he didn't pass. He didn't fall down the stairs. He definitely passed out. We got him back up. I think it was fainting because he wasn't used to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So there are some people that you could scare with like gore and stuff, but with Final Boy, I really tried not to like scare people, even though it's a horror thing. I'd say it's more like horror themed. I really wanted to just entertain the audience, like present them with like interesting romances and a lot of comedy, a lot of jokes.
Was it hard juggling that many people though? A cast of 20 people seems like it's a pretty big feat to write.
Yeah, for a comic, what I did was I have this cafeteria scene in issue 2, which introduces like 15 people or something. Basically, we're just panning the camera around the room to different conversations. We get snippets of them, and you have to really establish a character's personality in just a few words. Because with comics, like every page is money, right? You don't want to waste a word. And then we introduce more characters later on. But the way I did it, it just kind of felt organic, It just felt right. We see characters going to classes and meeting like a certain suspicious professor there and stuff like that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So are we going to see like in the future, you mentioned there was going to be 7 issues. So we're already at issue 3. Are the next 4 going to release in the same manner where it's going to be like 2 each, so we'll have like 4 and 5 and then 6 and 7?
I'm considering it. I've thought about doing double features all the way through, or just doing like a campaign for the next ones. What happened here was I was just getting issue 1 out, and we managed to finish issue 2 and 3 at the same time. So I figured, why not just do a double feature and get them out sooner to people. Also, I thought issues 2 and 3 really go well together as a pairing. So I wanted people to kind of continue the story that way, get even more invested. But I haven't decided yet whether 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 are going to be together. There are some cliffhangers coming up, so I don't know whether or not people will be mad if I leave them on a cliffhanger for a couple months.
That gets them coming back though, right?
Yeah, it does. So I'm considering.
So what's the creative team involved in on this? How did that process look like for you, initially going from script and passing it off to your artist?
Right, so I wrote about 14 scripts for this series before I located an artist, and I actually met them on Facebook in a indie comics group. They were looking for work, and they're just amazing. Marlon Souza's the artist, a really talented up and coming guy. Like I can really picture him making it big in the industry one day. It was his first real comic, I think, making issue number 1, and it just looks amazing. He had such a flair for visual storytelling. In a couple places, he even adds panels of stuff to make this visual storytelling better. So he actually improves upon my scripts. Really, and the coloring is just gorgeous. Like a lot of the reviews mention the coloring, which is just gorgeous. The nighttime shots, the moonlight shots. I just love all of them. And yeah, they actually don't speak English.
So were they the colorists as well as the artists?
Yes.
Like the pencil art and colors? Okay.
Yeah, they translate my scripts, and that's how they get them. And what we do is
wow, dude, that's impressive too, right? Like, because things can get lost in translation.
Occasionally, yeah. Actually, I haven't really encountered that too much. Maybe in 1 or 2 instances where like we do layouts, so I see like what everything's going to look like before we actually create the comic, and that helps out a lot. You know, smoothing things out. Some things might get lost in translation, but really, like they have an idea of where the story's going, and they're smart. Like they figure things out, and I'm just really lucky to have found them. Like they're incredible.
That is awesome. I love that. And then you're doing lettering as well. Has that been a big journey for you? I know with this being kind of like your first like official comic that you've published, you know, and you've had experience doing scripts, but like lettering seems like a whole different thing. Like it's a whole different art form, right?
Yeah, it's definitely an art form. I wouldn't recommend everybody lettering their own comic, but I did spend a lot of time learning it before I ever touched my own comic, and researching it and getting people to mentor me in that area. And I think it turned out pretty well. You know, I still have some things to learn, but I'm proud of like how the comics look. They look professional and industry level with the lettering and the art. So yeah, that definitely worked out. I did have a background in some graphic design, so I wasn't coming from a place of no knowledge there. But
still impressive though.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Still impressive. That is awesome. So I think right now would be a perfect time for us. Let's go ahead and switch over to the campaign and look at what we're here, you know, for, you know, looking at issue 2 and issue 3.
Yes, sir. That sounds great.
Yes, sir. Looking at Final Boy issues 1 through 3, a slasher comedy murder mystery. $985 at $800 goal. So congratulations on that once again. 38 backers with 15 days left to go. If this is a video, we can go ahead and play this if you'd like.
Yeah, that'd be great. Hello everyone, I'm Sam, and I wanted to talk to you about Final Boy. So I have the first cover on canvas here. I just got these in. I'm really excited about it because it's a gorgeous cover. I just love it so much. And I also have the second cover right here. And the killer is actually on this cover somewhere. So maybe you can guess who they are. Could be multiple killers. We'll see. This comic fits within the slasher genre, but it's also a comedy, a murder mystery, and an action and adventure thriller, so there's a little something for everyone. We've got a double feature this time, issues 2 and 3. Issue 1's also available to order, and I think these two issues, 2 and 3, are really funny. We managed to pack a lot of jokes onto every page, every panel. Character humor, dialogue humor, and visual gags supplied by the talented Marlon Souza and the gifted colorist Danilo Liao. So this first issue is the introduction to the storyline, and we follow Scott and Haley as they're looking for a place on campus for a romantic rendezvous. But little do they know there's a slasher on the loose, and having sex is the worst idea you could have in a slasher story. And if you haven't already, I'm excited for you to read the ending to this issue because it contains a surprising twist. Issue 2 is the story where we meet the main cast and as they react to the bizarre happenings of the first issue. And but there's more pressing matters to them like homework, relationship drama, and video games. And in the third issue, the killer avatar strikes again, and an evil masked figure appears, and a girl takes a shower. A lot of exciting stuff happens, and you won't want to miss a thrilling conversation about the sexualization of piano legs. We have a bunch of reward options below, more than last time. For my fellow comic creators, I'm offering a written review of your comic or script or pitch, as well as a video consultation, so check that out. There are some reviews down below if you're not sold on the story yet, so you can take a look at those, as well as an interview that I did, a really fun interview, if you want to learn more about me or the project. So if you're a fan of horror movies or comedy movies, then check out Final Boy. I'm beyond thrilled to be able to share this with you guys. Thank you so much. I'm very grateful for all your support.
Let's go. We have Rinsler over on YouTube. It's so damn beautiful. I agree. I love that canvas. That canvas was awesome. For everyone that is watching, here is the link to the Kickstarter. Be sure to check this out with us. If you're on words today, if you're unable to back, please feel free to retweet, share this on Twitter, share this on Facebook. Word of mouth is 100% free, and I'm sure you're going to have a friend who will love this slasher comedy murder mystery. We have Rinsler saying, Ask about how fast that was fully funded. So when did let's start off with that. Yeah, how fast was it?
I think it was day one actually for this
Day
campaign.
one hype. Let's go, man. That is awesome. That's awesome. Congratulations on that. So what was some of the things that you did that you feel led to that, in terms of maybe promoting interviews that you've done, or a pre-launch? What was some of the things that you think led to that?
Yeah, definitely the pre-launch. The first campaign, I didn't really know much about the pre-launch page or how much it helped you. So I had it up for about like 2 weeks before my campaign. This time I had it up for a couple months, and that definitely helped out a lot for that first paid push. And now I got some great advice about the pre-launch page there. So yeah, I'd recommend having it up for as long as possible before you launch your campaign. Get as many backers out there and have it as your pinned tweet for a long time. That seemed to help a lot.
So here is the opening credits, and it looks like we've kind of already touched upon all of this. So, wait, what's up?
I've got it memorized.
But here are some of the covers and interiors. So this I love this artwork. This is gorgeous. And you said that the murderer is on the cover.
Yeah, it's one of those people on the cover, and it helps to have about like 20 people on the cover. So. There's quite a few suspects.
This dude, you said Scream. This dude looks like the one dude from Scream.
Yeah, it's kind of drag.
Yeah. Hell yeah, dude. That is awesome. And then here's a look at issue 3 with the exciting shower scene. Ooh la la. And then we have the Avatar being creepy in the corner. Like, come on, man. Wait till she's done and fully clothed.
Yeah, right. And,
so
were really fun to write. The tagline's like, I think 20 suspects, 7 blondes, 1 killer for issue numbers. And there really are like 7 blondes on there. And for the tagline for Final Boy 3, I kind of combined Jaws, the Jaws 2 tagline, just when I thought it was safe to go back in the shower, as a reference to Psycho as well, which was one of the first slasher movies that ever came out.
So what was the drawing thing as we go over some of these interiors? Why did you choose a slasher like comedy? Why balance those two? Because they seem like two polar opposites, right? Like a slasher horror and make it a comedy as well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, the thing about horror and comedy is that jokes and scares are actually structured the exact same way, and they elicit the same chemical responses in your brain. When I learned that, I was like, wow, I want to combine those two genres into one story and see what happens. I think it works really well. There's also not that many horror comedies. Like, it's a really niche subgenre. I want to play around with that. And I've written actually quite a few horror comedies now, and it just seems to be my genre. I really love movies like Evil Dead, It, Pennywise, love those movies. And The Cabin in the Woods as well. That was a big inspiration for this. I think we even have a Cabin in the Woods poster hidden in issue number 2. So that's exciting.
Yeah, I really like this cafeteria scene too. I thought this was a really nice way for you to kind of build up some of that exposition with multiple characters. And dropping, 20, or you said 15, so even 15 at a time would be like a huge feat, but kind of like laying them out in this scene seemed like it would be like an easier way not only to script that, but for the readers to digest it as well.
Yeah, I mean, college cafeteria, that was a huge part of my college experience. I spent a lot of time in the cafeteria because, you get free access to food, basically.
Right here, I found the poster, the Cabin in the Woods one.
There it is, yeah.
Yeah, let's go. Anytime you say something like that, I'm like looking like, okay, I'm going to find it. Let's go.
Oh man, there's so many Easter eggs in this, and it's not just like pop culture Easter eggs. We set up so many things for future issues in the background. So yeah, everything comes back later. Everything a character talks about is important thematically or for future plot lines.
And I love the whole, like, I'm not basic, but I listen to, my favorite song is Gangster Paradise.
Actually, I love that. And yeah, a little meta joke there as well.
What, right here?
Right, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I loved, I will talk about it backstage, actually, because I don't want to spoil anything. But there was another, like part where I'm like, dude, this is too good. This is too good.
Yeah, I spent a long time fine-tuning those scripts. I think like a year to get them just perfect. Because I figured, that's the one thing you can do for free as a comic writer. All you need is Microsoft Word, really, and get those scripts perfect.
So let's go ahead and check out some of the rewards. So are all the rewards right here the same that are going to be on the scrolling side?
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
I just created little graphics for them.
Yeah, not a problem. So right now for the digital, you can get Final Boy issues 2 and 3 for $10, which includes the indie comic bundle. So can you give us a little bit about that bundle?
Yeah, we got some really fabulous creators. It's 6 comics first issues, and some really exciting established indie creators offering their comics. Some of them are horror and some of them are not, so it's a wide range of genres. We have like a zombie story about demon hunters, a gun ghoul, stuff like that.
Let's go.
Yeah, 6 comics, so you'll get anywhere from 8 to 9 from this one campaign.
We have the digital catch-up, so Final Boy issues 1, 2, and 3 for $15, which is going to also include that indie comic bundle. And then the digital plus scripts. So you're going to get the Final Boy issues 1, 2, and 3, and then the digital PDFs, and then the scripts for all 3?
Yeah, all 3. I figured
that's awesome.
Some people see the comparisons between the script and the finished product, as well as maybe you're like learning to write comics or something, you want to see what they look like. So I figured I'd just throw those in there.
Oh, that is awesome. And then now we start with the physical tiers. We have Final Boy issues 2 and 3 for $24. It's also going to include the digital PDFs and the indie comic bundle. The physical catch-up tier, so 1, 2, and 3 for $39, includes everything as well, the digital PDFs and the bundle. And then the physical and scripts at $47. So some really awesome tiers here, I think. Signed physical variant, and then signed issue 1 variant, issue 2 and 3 at $100. That seems like an awesome tier as well. So let's talk a little bit about this one. So what's that? Do you have that variant with you?
Yeah, I actually don't, but it's on there on that screen, and it's like Avatar.
Oh, right here.
Haley.
Okay.
Right, and it's just a really cool cover. It's kind of similar to like that Joker Harley cover where they're dancing together, but Haley isn't so alive in that one.
And then we have the retailer bundle, so 30 comics of Final Boy, 10 issues of each, issue 1, 2, and 3 at $250. And then here are some of the stretch goals. So we have that indie comics bundle right here. Awesome titles. I mean, we've had Sam Stokes and Ines, all 3 on the show. So right there, half of the bundle here, like we've had these creators on. They're all awesome. Oh, this is really cool, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, so we got Rays, Dangerous Enemies, Decay, Demon Hunter Raven, Luthoromania, and Gun Ghoul. Some really exciting books on there. I've read them all, and I can't recommend them enough.
So the stretch goal is 1,000, which is a little less than the previous campaign earned. If you hit that, then you get access to all 6 issues. So you're right there on the money, right? You're just, about $15 away. So real close to unlocking that stretch goal. And then let's go ahead and scroll back down.
I feel pretty confident we'll hit that in the next day.
Yeah, absolutely. And then a little bit about the team. So do you want to give us a little bit of a breakdown of what this says about you?
Yeah, basically, just list some influences that I had on there, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre screen, like the movies that influenced me, a little bit about myself and my writing background, as well as my Instagram and Twitter handles.
And the beard. Yeah, the beard. Okay.
Used to have a beard back in college. And we got pictures of the artist and the colorist there as well. Yeah, so Marlon Souza, fantastic, really cool dude. Yeah, he's just awesome, and I've gotten to know him quite well over these past few months. And Danilo, the colorist, he's awesome as well. I hope he watches this. And he's got a family and everything. Really cool guy as well.
That's awesome. And then right here is a look at the title. So, these are named for the issues. So we get a little sneak peek.
Yeah, little hints at where the story's going. So chapter 1's opening kills. Little spoiler about the issue, but I named each issue after like common horror tropes, basically. You have opening kills in a slasher story. Chapter 2, everyone is a suspect. Chapter 3, kill the cutie. That one's a trope where like the hot girl dies, basically. That's like a common. I went to like slashertropes.com or something and looked up the list and got some ideas for titles. There's also always a party in slasher stories. And adults are useless in slasher stories. Like you get the cops involved and they don't do anything at all, or they mess things up. Chapter 6 is called Respawn, and that's a gaming term. So that gives you a little clue of what happens in that issue.
Okay.
Chapter 7 is a power fantasy. which plays into the themes of the story as well, of what the killer is doing.
And then right here is the end credit. So yeah, here's some praises that we can go over to. So Final Boy review: creepy, suspenseful, and brutal. Final Boy is a home run of an opening with horror tropes galore, instantly relatable and full of energy. A must read for comic book and horror fans alike from Shattered Glass Comic Reviews. Another one from Daredevils and Warriors: I showed this to my teenage son who knows the genre a lot better than me and does not give praise lightly, and his view on these closing pages was that's gangsta as shit. So yeah, let's go. That is so awesome. And then once again, here's that link in the chat to check out some of these other interviews as well. This is the Kickstarter in its entirety, correct, Sam?
Yeah, that's all of it.
Let's go ahead and close out, and we will begin wrapping things up. So after going through that Kickstarter, what would you like to say to anyone who might be on the fence about backing this campaign? Like anyone who's kind of teeter-tottering on, right on that fence, what would you say to them directly to help push them over?
Well, first, I'd say I understand if money's tight. It's tight for a lot of people right now, including myself. But if you are interested in Final Boy, I think we got amazing art. The lettering is good, and the story is something I've worked on for years, so I would hope it's good. And it's comedic, a lot of comedic mayhem, some thrilling action, and some creative kills. And most of all, I put a lot of work into the dialogue to make that interesting and funny. And jokes packed onto nearly every panel, like a lot of character humor, dialogue humor, and situational comedy as well.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're into rom-coms or action movies or slashers or things of that nature, then definitely give it a shot.
No, that is awesome. So Sam, outside of Final Boy, what else is in the works for you? I know you have a couple more issues that you're going to be working on with Final Boy, but any other side projects or any other comics to look forward to in the future from you?
Oh, dude, there's so many. I've been writing comic scripts for years now, and I've got a lot in the can. I wanted to do Final Boy first because it's really my passion project, my dream project to do, and it's an ongoing thing, hopefully. So outside of these 7 issues, which contains a complete story, I wanted to see if it can continue after that. But I've got a series called Blessings that borrows from Chilote folklore of Mbunches, which are a monster that really haven't been depicted at all in media. So I'm excited.
I don't think I've even heard of it. Well, so give us a little bit about that. What's that about?
Okay, so in Chilote culture, this was just 100 years ago that they stopped doing this. There were these things called wizard trials where they put these wizards on trials, actual warlocks, for their crimes. And what it came out was what they do is they take a baby that was 7 days old, I believe, feed it goat's milk and deform it, do a lot of horrible things for it I won't talk about, but they would keep it in a cave. And the idea was all the bad luck of that town got poured out onto that one baby as it grew older, and they keep it alive, and then everybody else would have good luck. So I decided, what would I do with a town in America that had abnormally high rates of winning the lottery and things just going right for people, a really wealthy town, and then it came out that they had an Mbunche. And so that's where the story of Blessings.
That is so messed up. Oh my God, dude, to do that to a kid just as a good luck charm, holy crap.
I know, but it was a real thing that happened. So
yeah.
As well. I've got a superhero parody thing in the works as well that I just been working on today, and a story called Midwinter, which is about a group of preteen girls battling Grim Reapers, basically.
Okay.
They survive a school fire, and they weren't supposed to survive it, so these Grim Reapers come after them.
Okay, that's awesome. That seems a little bit like what Final Destination almost.
Yeah, in a way, but it's more like a physical threat as opposed to just this nebulous idea of death.
Dude, that is awesome. I love it, man. I love it. You have such a creative mind, and I can't wait to see where you go with those other stories too. If they're half of anything like Final Boy, they're going to be amazing, because Final Boy was such a fun ride through and through.
Oh, that means a lot. Thank you for saying that.
No, absolutely. So Sam, before we wrap things up completely, I always love ending on a strong note, and that is offering advice to anyone who might be listening, because as much as this is a podcast where we really focus on you and your book, it's also a nice little platform for anyone who might be new, or maybe they're even experienced, but they're just struggling and they just need a second win. So with that being said, for anyone who's out there who's struggling just getting going with, whether it's writing or art or anything in general with their comic, what type of advice would you offer them to help motivate them to just go?
Yeah, definitely. Well, what I would say is a lot of people have so many ideas, and it's a real shame that they don't get those ideas out on paper. So what I'd recommend is like you have ideas, don't worry about them being bad on paper. Like get them out there. They can be bad for a while before you revise and edit and clean them up, and then they can
Hmm.
be good. You know, you have to like polish a diamond before it looks beautiful, right? So that's why I'd recommend. It's a shame so many people keep so many ideas bottled up inside. Like I want to see more comics and more creative stories out there. So definitely don't be afraid to be bad before it becomes good.
Yeah, yeah. I forgot what the quote was exactly, but it's something like, when you die, all your dreams that you wish you could have done but never tried to do die with you. Like they're there at your bedside with you, and you just reminisce about that, and you think about all the what ifs, and you're just going for it, right? Is half the battle.
That terrifies me. Like I want to get all my stories out there that I can humanly possible. I want to become prolific and just have a whole back catalog of things so people can learn about me even after my death. Right? Art is a legacy.
No, that is awesome, and I think the legacy of this slasher horror is going to live on long and long, far after you're dead, because this story is phenomenal, Sam, and I cannot wait to see the conclusion, man. We're going to have to get you on for the campaigns for issue 4, 5, 6, and 7, all the way up to the end.
I love that. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. So everyone watching, tomorrow is New Comic Book Day. Here is the link to the Kickstarter. Be sure to check this out. And once again, if you're unable to back, share it on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, wherever you go, because word of mouth is 100% free. With that being said, we are going to be wrapping things up. I hope you all have a fantastic night, but most importantly, keep it geekly.